fast, life is moving in slow-mo. I'm a god, but I actually don't know. Homie, better put your pride aside. I'm a Benz, get more like a Volvo. Your best stuff looks like my words. Synapses, fire, and burst. Got the whole crew with me, about to do damage. You know we ain't average. I ain't gonna say this again, but it's in my time. Better look in my eyes. I'm a genius in the skies with my heart on my sleeve. You force to oblige to a king in his prime. Everybody got a line. Sit back with the stars in line. I finesse like my life on the nine. Was a diamond in the rough, and now I shine.
No one could stop us, they'll try, but they won't. Nada nos puede parar. Oh no, we're wide awake now. Our eyes are wide open. We're running this world. We're keeping it turning. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We're giants. Oh, sleeping giants. Sleeping giants. Yeah. Shutting it down. Been in the grind, and my people all up in this place. Spinning this thing, gold on my ring, royalty up in my veins. I'm loco, think I'm so cold. I say something, ain't no going back. Now they ask where Kiki's at. I'm like, you can't hang with that. 쏟아져 빛이 멀게 된 눈이 멈추지 않아. Once we go, 내게 더운 날로 모든 배워 빨리 달려. 넌 못 따라와. True damage we do it. True damage 보여줄게. 뭐든 쉽게 이기든 지든. My crew make the beat. No one could stop us. They'll try, but they won't. Nada nos puede parar. Oh no, we're wide awake now. Our eyes are wide open. We're running this world. We're keeping it turning. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We're giants. It's not the way we're waiting, but we're coming right back. This time you're gonna see how we do it like that. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We're giants. Oh, sleeping giants. Sleeping giants.
I keep on shattering time. I might just leave you behind. Homie, you stuck on rewind. You just quit sleeping on mine. You got your back on reclined. When I damage your delicate spine, please don't act out, shy and surprised. They be like, what you mean? What is your winning scheme? I got a giant team. Biggest my self-esteem. Run it back, running man. They think they go hard, I'm like, come again. You run out of time and I'm busting in. While you stumbling, I got this blade in my hand for your punishment.
We're wide awake now. Our eyes are wide open. We're running this world. We're keeping it turning. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We're giants. It's not the way we're waiting, but we're coming right back. This time you're gonna see how we do it like that. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We're giants. Oh, sleeping giants. Sleeping giants. As a child, you would wait and watch from far away, but you always knew that you'd be the one that would while they all played. And you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to week 2 of the PSU LCS. Once again, I'm Dom, joined here today by 11th Style Lol. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am having a pretty okay day on this wonderful Saturday. A bit cold for my liking here in good old Happy Valley, but should be a very fun game we have here today. SanaPekoraWatanabe versus Boomers and Azoomer. SanaPekora, of course, having a very strong start towards the split, only dropping 1 game so far to the universe. Boomers Azoomer a little bit slower. 2-0 loss to Gorilla Monkey. Definitely not what they wanted to see. However, coming back, only dropping 1 more game throughout the first week of the Super Week to also the universe, interestingly enough. So both these teams, some of our top spots in the league as we get right on into the draft.
I will say this will be a pretty interesting game. They've got pretty well players on both sides. Boomers and Zoomers 2-0 their opponents last week.
Have been looking pretty good during the Super Week overall. Some very strong legacy PSU LCS talent there, all over that team. As Skarner, Malzahar going to be the bans from SanaPekora, Hecker and Senna dropping out from Boomers and Zoomer. So targeting that, some good denial picks like the Malzahar. Skarner, of course, extremely strong at 11.4. If you do not know what this champion can do, it hurts. Tons of utility, does not need a lot of gold, has an extremely fast clear speed, can really impact the late game fights, and of course makes everyone pay that 1300 Quicksilver Sash tax. Thresh should be another very good ban against Danny as God. So more or less going for targets here on the overall. Senna and Skarner really being the only 2 big meta champions hitting the bench so far. And now possibly Blitzcrank cover here by SanaPekora would be definitely an interesting first pick. Probably want to see something more like the AD carry, and yep, there's Jinx as soon as I start mentioning it. Locked in. Did get the range buffs on 11.3 on the Q on rocket form, and then also getting now the base health back, meaning that champion very strong. One of the last few really true hyper carries remaining in League of Legends that you can play. And definitely a pretty strong pick out of the gates. Without Thresh to pair up with, going to need a little bit more of a protective bot lane. Now Boomers is electing to go with the Gragas R1.
I will say so far the bans have been pretty solid, getting rid of champions who can just pull you away from your team or dive you under tower.
Ooh, and interestingly, seeing the Ornn locked in this early, pretty much confirming the Gragas either jungle support. You're not getting the three-way flex potential out of that one. Gragas, of course, still a very strong tank top laner when you go just full HP and defensive stats. Has a ton of healing, becomes basically immortal in the late game. Pretty much forces any AD carry you're against to go with Kraken Slayer. And with Darius still up, Yo Watanabe gonna pick up the old one trick. Take that back into the top lane versus the orange. Certainly a matchup that is exploitable for the Darius early on. And now possibly looking maybe for a support here to round out the last option of their blue side. Still need something to pair up with the Jinx. Tom Kench has been making a resurgence with a lot of these more immobile AD carries. Also look at something like the Leona. They're looking for engage. Instead, they're going to pick up the jungle Graves, which I think is maybe not the direction I'd like to see SanaPekora go on 11-4, but certainly comfort for Billy D.
Well, if you can take advantage of Graves' early playstyle, it should be pretty helpful for their team.
Yeah, getting ahead early is certainly important on the champion now. With the jungle nerfs, a lot less gold, a lot less XP coming from the full clearing. So unless you're something like Karthus or, for instance, Skarner, who's on the ban table right now, you do need to have an absurdly fast clear to really get any advantages out of that style of play. And now going to be banning out Akali. Boomers and Zoomers going to take that away from the top lane, or not the top lane, the mid lane pool of SanaPekora. This is a Catalyst in for remove Moonstone as a substitute on SanaPekora, so are playing with a different mid laner. Be interesting to see how that adaptation is made here in draft. But the support pool here for Boomers and Zoomers is going to be pitched off a little bit with the Morgana. Maybe judging that SanaPekora wants to go something a little bit more on the aggressive side here in the bot lane. Wouldn't mind seeing something like the Leona ban here for Boomers and Zoomers, or possibly the Rel ban. Alistar also in that same vein, so very nice. It has a lot of appeal for the AD carry with the headbutt and pulverize. Can be used separately to interrupt. Now, one more ban for SanaPekora. Still have to possibly get rid of a jungle pick. Would like to see an Udyr ban here, actually. I'm not sure if Boomers and Zoomers are practiced on the pick, but certainly very strong, very perfectly fine into the Graves. Instead, they're going to look to pitch out that mid lane pool, going to take away the Syndra.
Not a bad ban. Having Cinder just being able to sit back and farm up with Q safely or poke somebody down with the stun.
Yep. Interesting Nautilus being the selection for Boomers and Zoomers. Now SanaPekora do have the option for support counter pick. They've already banned away the Morgana, so that's out of the picture. Rel still available to try to deal with some of this engage that Boomers and Zoomers are putting together. Of course, has a pretty hard time getting on top of the Ezreal. So I'll have to see what they want to lock in there. Yep, Rel locked up and in, and with the mid lane being the last, still having to more than likely blind that one. Into Cross. This does confirm Gragas jungle though, so it does open up quite a bit of stuff for Boomers and Zoomers. Have to be careful always of some of Cross's AD champion pool. The Yasuo is one that comes to mind from games in years past that he's pulled out of the pocket. And that has to be it. Okay, we have something spicy going on here. Elise locked in for SanaPekoraWatanabe B5. They're going to go with what I believe is Graves mid.
What an interesting team comp they have there.
Yeah, that's a really interesting play call there from SanaPekora. With that, it might actually be Catalyst going into the jungle. I'm not sure who is the better Elise. But the Cassiopeia rounded out, definitely going to be a little bit harder for SanaPekora now with a short range, near melee, or close thereof style mid laner. Cassiopeia, of course, could be perfectly happy into that with the Miasma ability, with your early damage on the Q, and kiting with the movement speed buff that it gives you, as well as Cosmic Drive did get a little mini rework slash buff this patch, so no longer do you need to actually hit your abilities or dot to use it on Cassiopeia. You do just get a certain number of AP, and then you can build the item and immediately get all the movement speed and I believe it's CDR from that item just automatically when you purchase it as the passive. So maybe see that as like a third, fourth item for Cross to really punish the short-ranged champions on the side of SanaPekora. But overall, very interesting draft going out. We're not seeing the Gragas flex out of Boomers and Zoomers. Just going to pick it up immediately for the jungle position. It is fair to note that Boomers and Zoomers very AP heavy on this composition. Gragas, Ornn, Cassiopeia actually pretty much majority magic damage topside. And with the buffs on the side of Verdant Barrier, as well as therefore Banshee's Veil, I mean, there's no one really to build that. Elise is definitely going to be very happy putting it up for the second item slot. Graves can always go some early magic resist as well if he wants to. Merc Treads, I would assume, would be the play here into this enemy team comp, but very odd draft to say the least. I think SanaPekora had the right idea up until the Graves flex, which is definitely something that's a bit on the more unorthodox side of things.
Yeah, I'd say you can definitely see that one team is going to be a lot more tankier than the other.
My biggest concern here for either team is Boomers and Zimmers. Yeah, they're very AP heavy, but they also have a very good scaling team fight comp. You have a ton of different engage options. You have the Gragas cast, you have Call of the Forge God, Depth Charge, Dredge Line. You can even possibly get in with a Miasma if SanaPekora tries to engage on you. So Boomers and Zimmers, they have a lot of ability to both disengage and engage fights. They really have a lot of emphasis and ability to determine when and how they would like to fight. If they don't find a good setup on the dragon they think they're getting engaged on, you can have Get My Soup toss out the cast, try to blow people back, cross, get throw it on the Miasma, make it unable for the Rel to really do much, or Graves to dash in, or Darius to try to stride breaker through their lines. And you also have scaling aspects. Yes, their early game I think is fairly weak overall. Cassiopeia has some early pressure mid lane that she can levy, but against Graves, is going to be a little bit on the harder side. Or, of course, just a scaling top laner, not super good in the 1v1. Definitely loses hard to Darius. Gragas as well, not necessarily favored into the Elise in a sheer 1v1 duel. So, early game, maybe not with Boomers and Zoomers having a lot of stuff, but if they can survive the early pressure of SanaPekora, are looking very good into the mid to late game with this team. I'd say, just judging from it, I'd give Boomers and Zoomers a 4K gold deficit before I really start saying it's an uneven matchup, because I think that is the amount of gold minimum that SanaPekora need to have to actually stay in these fights in the mid game. Now, this is not to say SanaPekora, of course, does not have tools of their own. They do have a Jinx, they do have a Rel, who are going to, through all portions of the game, Jinx is a little bit less on the early side of things, but they're going to be an effective teamfight presence. You're going to get the Ruin on Hurricane on Jinx, you're going to get massive AoE crits in the teamfight stage. And the problem is their top side of the map with Elise, Graves, Darius, all three of these champions, very much heavy emphasis on the early game, heavy emphasis on trying to get ahead early. And if that doesn't happen, if that gold doesn't generate out of the side of SanaPekora, I think it becomes very hard for them to play against the side of Boomers, because it'll be a much more difficult for an Elise Rel to really be able to be the initiation, or even beyond the initiation, if they have to even kite back from the side of Boomers with how many options they have. So I think post-draft, for me, at least, is definitely hard win on the side of Boomers and Zoomers. I'm not a huge fan of the majority AP comp. I think their damage spread's a bit rough in that area. However, very solid team fighting, has a lot of playmaking options in the mid to late game, especially if they can get bot control early with the Nautilus pressure, get some early Drakes stacked up against the Elise Graves. That would be pretty massive in terms of the benefits it's going to give you in the late game. So SanaPekora here really looking to just individually outskill, outplay, and outmaneuver in all lanes and rotations. I think save any of that really happening. Boomers and Zoomers looking pretty good.
I'd say so. All the blue side team really has to put on the pressure early if they want to have a chance for late.
Yep, and I mean, this is one thing we're seeing. SanaPekoraWatanabe is currently our second place team in the standings. They are 5-1 out of the 6-game Super Week that was played. So they have been looking incredibly good. 2-0ing most of their opponents, have not necessarily had an easy schedule in themselves. We saw the 1-1 games against the Universe, which were extremely close. So this is a team that you would expect at that top of the threshold, up there with 5-inch Girth Gods, Coach Gap, etc., who have been looking very strong. I mean, you would expect them, if they are so much better than their competition, than where we're seeing with Boomers and Zoomers sitting around the 7th place marker right now at, I'm trying to do my math in my head, I think 3-3 if my memory serves correctly, but I might be misrepresenting that, so my apologies.
Fortunately, they did end that last week with a 2-0.
Yeah, it's 30. They're 33. So this should be a team where you would expect SanaPekora to have the better macro play, to have the better individual skill to be able to come out on top in this kind of situation. I just think they're not giving themselves a ton of tools to do it with. I mean, I fully trust Billy D on Graves in the jungle. His mid lane Graves I have some skepticism about in terms of its ability to make plays and pressure around the map. I think topside certainly for SanaPekora going to be the focus. Lots of dives heading up there with Billy D on Graves. You have Catalyst on the Elise team, enable some stuff, as well as Yo Watanabe on the one-trick Darius. Going to be able to be very effective on the champion. So they have options. And then even that, SanaPekora, they're doing this kind of composition, this hard-to-play style, with their standard starting mid laner is not present today. He's playing in the D1 games. He's got to be going for the next thing. So he's not available today. They have a Catalyst from Coach Gap in the jungle. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work, because one thing that Remove Moonstone does very, very well in the mid lane is his ability to roam and impact the map. So we're going to have to see how SanaPekora goes to adjust about this with such a kind of bits and pieces team composition. And then for Boomers and Zoomers, you can just play this one out, man. Farm up to 30. If you're farmed at 30 minutes, you are in some pretty good spots. Over here to camps, but we're loading here for game 1 of SanaPekoraWatanabe versus side of Boomers and Zoomers. There we go. And looking like a possible invade here from Boomers and Zoomers. Aversive Bias leading the charge on the Nautilus down towards this Tri-Rush. Already warded though from Danny is God, so definitely going to be spotted out here. But still a 5 stacks. They might let them approach all the way in before they actually decide to do anything. Have to see Yo Watanabe looking to take the recall here, start walking up toward top side. And they're just going to ward it and back off, so 5-man not going to be too much so far. Both teams just kind of playing this one cautiously. Oh, the back cancel. That means absolutely nothing.
What a nice cue. Put a little chip on the top laner.
Yeah, no more kleptomancy. Rip.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Rest in peace in Season 9, my guy. Ezreal not going to get that free 10 gold, or if he was really lucky, 25 gold, or a mana pot, or some nice little present there for his early bot lane laning. Both junglers going to be starting up here on the bot side with full leashes, so more or less expecting the Gragas to go with something more of a full clear, so Gromp into Wolves in the top side camps as well. And then contest Scuttle maybe on the top side of the map with Darius pressure. Catalyst more than likely going for a, I would say 3 camp, maybe he goes for the 4 camp if he elects to do the Wolves, but try to get that level 3 as quickly as possible and either invade on the Gragas or try to make a play happen top side.
I would definitely take advantage of Darius's early game pressure to maybe cocoon the Ornn and get Darius ahead, whether it be Ornn missing minions or maybe a first blood.
I could even see a dive top lane possibly, at least once he gets Repel actually can dive pretty effectively at level 3, and Ornn without much armor or stats can be not as unkillable. With the increased range on choppers for the trade back onto the Ezreal. Small little trade in the bot lane. He's got even fine has that aftershock. Things even. Posturing mid here, shadowing the very advanced Graves. Or looking to maybe contest the Gragas here with his red buff. Full top trial available, Lisa can call down pretty much either solo lane here to contest this if Catalyst so chooses. They know Gragas is there, they take onto the jungler. A waiting game for Catalyst has to show himself. Might though, goes away, get my soup, 1 HP. That is pretty much Trey Scuttles now. Top lane.
Ornn getting really low.
Yep. Pings to dive as well, so at least Catalyst looking for that early dive. They have to stack the waves, so you'll want to make it take a little bit more time to get this pushed in, but most certainly going to be in here eventually.
Well hit Cocoon, Ornn flashed out.
I'm not sure if that was worth from Catalyst, but very well played there by Tiggs, pretty much as well as he could do it. Grabs the double knockup off the E charge. Also manages to unstoppable the Cocoon. So, Catalyst, I think, probably you just walk out there, you take your loss, and you try to get that next wave shoved in under turret to grab some quick before force the Ornn to TP, but instead just going to trade the first blood for a kill back onto the Ornn. So yeah, you do end up getting 54 gold, but with Gragas still able to just continue to clear camps, continue to build advantage and some deep vision, the amount of worthwhileness of the actual death on dive is certainly in question. Definitely Gragas now up 14 CS, so about a little more than 3 camps worth of farm.
I'd definitely say in low elo, that would definitely be worth for me. Getting that first blood 400 gold.
I mean, it does accelerate at least a little bit, but or not exactly too super bent out of shape, as he does manage to pick up the 300 gold himself, stay pretty even in gold with Io Watanabe on the Darius. And actually, one thing I'd like to point out here, Boomers and Zoomers keeping a very nice vision line here over the pushed up top side. You have that deep ward on by the Raptors camp, I believe placed by Getting My Soup on an invade, as well as cross around the Dragon Pits. So pretty much full control of the bot side here for Boomers and Zoomers. They're not in any danger, and that's going to let them start off a very early Drake 530. And this is one of the things I talked about in draft. This team getting early leads, getting any kind of advantage they can, especially early Dragon stacks, just going to be in their favor, as the nature of the 5 champions they've drafted is going to thrive off the mid and late game group death ball style composition. Already getting an early Ocean Drake, and we have the Mountain coming up here, so going to be Infernal or Cloud Soul. Either one pretty, I mean, Cloud Soul wouldn't be the best, but a lot of important ultimates there on Boomers and Zoomers who would love to grab that extra CDR for, but no one's going to complain about some extra Infernal damage on an Infernal Soul neither.
So that definitely be helpful for Blue side right now. Getting that Infernal Soul if they could.
Yeah, good job looking for some mid-bot lane. Gonna continue to go down here. That versus bias. Find the dredge line. Get My Soup gonna go down. Or not, Get My Soup gonna take down Catalyst, I should say.
What a nice game. Taking out both the support and the jungler.
Yeah, Billy's in trouble as well as Yo Watanabe, as the teleporter canceled with the E. Watanabe trying to find another fire. Cross lands, petrifying gaze, has the Q for the poison, going very low, but Cross able to finish the kill. Tiggs dying to bleed as the trade comes through off of the Ignite burn mid. So a technical 2-for-1 in favor of SanaPekoraWatanabe, but again, I can't help but feel that all of these plays going towards the favor of Boomers and Zoomer top lane, not so much here, as Ornn is going to lose that full wave under the turret, but trading evenly for the most part early game with SanaPekora, with the champions they have selected. Very, very promising here for Boomers and a Zoomer. Gold lead only 500 at 7 minutes. We've certainly seen teams do quite a bit worse here in the opening weeks of PSU LCS this spring.
Pretty close game, only about less than 400 gold.
Yep, very close indeed. Now, Dragonback and versus Bias can try to set up the freeze bot lane, try to force Jinx and Rel to really overcommit here and try to get a play for Getting My Soup, as he walking down to this bottom lane and top lanes.
Both the support
Darius
and Greg.
just doing Darius things. Okay. casting a bit wide on that Danny's God. Still looking for the kill. Versus Spies very low. The make a Death Rock and actually able to find it. Now it's a turn here from SanaPekora. Getting my soup. Throws out a barrel to try to pull away, but Cross is in the bottom lane as well. That means the call off is there. Ability able to pick up full wave mid lane for that, as well as another turret plate. So
a good turnaround, 2v3 gank.
yeah, it was really well played there from the side of SanaPekora. The pick comes out of Danny's God, who's going to be very tanky. He uses the W to try to get out of the situation. Cast from Get My Super, certainly not, I think, what he had wanted. Only just pushing Split off to the side. Rel doesn't really end up being placed. So, not necessarily what you want to see. And now a lot of the lead that Gragas had previously accrued in the, Gragas had previously accrued in the CS lead. Pretty much gone now, as at least just kind of hard farming camps this entire duration. Only one CS down as Gragas is covering mid lane here. Does not have an ult still, so relying pretty much on the petrifying gates and Cross here to make stuff happen. As cute as it land, and therefore there shall be no further advances on towards ability.
We've got a 2-level top gap in levels up in top lane for the Darius. No surprise.
Yep. No, it's a pick gonna get my soup, and he is found out in his own jungle. Ability gonna grab that kill off of a good bush play from Catalyst. And those are the picks that SanaPekora will be living off. Now Danny's got some trouble. Ignited. W proc off the ult. Dragon back and flish. Continuing to trade back with not enough shield. He's healthy. Mid turn. Also going to be secured here. Plates are low enough for Catalyst to get in here and take one out from Cross. Not going to find anything with the die, but bot lane, Glitch is in trouble. He is connecting on Average Bias. Top the depth charge. The Average Bias sitting under turret, still taking aggro. The Death Rock comes out. Bliss able to flash away from now. The Arcane Ship does not find his witch. Pullback. There comes the Rel ulti, but Dragon back is tanking. He finally goes down. Average by the last one, and it's a double kill for Danny is God. The turn again from SanaPekora here on the dive attempt. A little bit overzealous from Average by Dragon back, not trading tower aggro effectively. That ends up being, yeah, it's 2 kills in the Rel, but it's 2 kills nonetheless, and it is going to make up for the bot lane pressure against them. And now the pick finding on the Catalyst in the river. Able to repel away. Ability trying to get him to safety. The cast comes out. There is no escape route open to the Elise. Uses the petrifying gate to put it up the kill. Now Ability seeing the summoner, or the cooldown blown, tries to get it in the flash for the kill, but another good flash and return across the trade. Overall, Boomers and Zoomers still coming out with some pretty solid plays in the early game. Still, they're now down by a little more than 2 KO. A lot of that now coming out of actually farming department top lane, I believe. That's a full 1,300 on the Darius in advantage alone. And then Graves is out to go ahead. As well as the support here for SanaPekora.
Teams are starting to posture around the Drake. Maybe a fight breaking out.
Dragonback gets caught out here. Doesn't land on a Catalyst. Dragonback goes down now because Catalyst continuing over the Rocket's doing a ton of AoE here as Average Bias goes down. Glitch getting excited as he goes forward with the W. Get my soup trying to run away here. Range on Jinx doing quite a bit of work, and again, another good pick. Boomers and Zoomers just face checking where they really should be sticking their nose. It's going to be a Drake for the side of SanaPekora, trying to get back on the high horse win condition of the Dragon Soul. So far, now increasing gold lead to 3K and some change. Watanabe does not find the E-tick, able to immune most of that, but he goes in that period very fast.
I will say, really well played by the blue side, being able to make that pick and then go right for the Drake, evening out the Drakes.
Yep, and that is good for their side. They're trying to stall. For Boomers and Zoomers, yeah, you can definitely give that early Drake. It's not that big of a deal for you. What's more big of a deal is the problem of you face check a bunch before, you lose 2 kills, and that gold goes over as well as the Drake, so therefore you're kind of putting yourself more in the hole. They are getting some stuff bot lane here off a weird recall diver. They could be getting collapsed on as well as Billy D and Catalyst making their way down toward the bot side.
Ornn TP coming in, or maybe the Casio TP down.
Oh, yeah, they're going for it. Oh, great flash today. He's got a huge AoE off to make a Death Rocket as well. Catalyst trying to get away from Cross. Dragonback finds the kill instead with the Arcane Chip. Shut down for the Ezreal on the Graves. Blish also falling. Cross able to grab that kill with the Fangs. And there's the counter play for Boomer Zoomers. They bring down the TP. They bring down the hammer in the bot lane with the College of Forge God. And they end up getting the bot turret +5 place. Yeah, Darius 3 on the top lane. That is hugely worth if you're Boomer Zoomers to give up your top lane turret, a bunch of CS for that kind of play. Now you're right back in the game, 1,000 gold down. The 4K threshold still not met. And Boomers and Zoomers once again getting back on the horse, keeping it close, continuing to scale up as we start breaking out this laning phase now, as this top lane turret also falling.
What a great play by the red side, being able to pick up all those members and as well as get the tower down.
Yeah. Very good teleport call in from Tig. I thought it was going to be a little bit on the later side. He was very much out of the fight, but able to still find the range on that engage to continue to make stuff. And now Dragonback scaling up very well. Is going for the Essence Reaver lethality Ezreal, so there should be a Dust Blade coming in here. Fairly accelerated as 30 CS ahead of the Jinx. One full kill and advantage gold in just that alone, plus the 2 kills he has already over Blish. And you're not there yet. There's still plenty of time for SanaPekora to try to make something happen. They have a ton of pick potential with this team. But now that we're 15 minutes in this game and it's evening kills, not a substantially insane gold lead here, this is when you have to start considering the facts of, are you ahead enough? And Watanabe might not be as the flash comes through. Nothing more to grab out of that than just a Herald going to the SanaPekora side. More or less the stage in the game where we're getting a little bit of a lull. Still waiting for objectives, someone waiting for maybe a pick on the side of SanaPekora. Boomer and Zoomer just perfectly willing to farm up and continue to look for some pokes when we can. Lady checking very close here. Poke goes wide from adverse bias.
I'd say that'd probably be a death sentence for Billy D if that hook actually landed on him.
For sure, that is a very aggressive positioning from the Graves. Yes, he had the Gale Force as well, but Dredgeline does have the hitbox of a school bus. Oh, Watanabe with the pull. Adverse bias not able to Spider-Man out as well. Dragonback here for more support. As now lots of tanks on the remaining 2 members. Dragonback gonna arcade it away. Might have found ability to do hit him instead. And getting my soup finds the kill. Counts the counter. Now the Grog is in some trouble. The dunk down from Watanabe. And that is the pick in for SPW. That's a huge misstep by Boomer and Zoomers. You have farm. You have had good team fighting. All you have to do in that situation is back off, play it safe, let the lane back into you. Instead, they try to position aggressively off the death of adverse bias. Let your man get picked. You overstep without vision. You have to back off there, cede the mid lane pressure, and continue to farm up. Yes, you're strong, but this team is still in their golden zone here at that 1-item power spike, and it's very hard to catch them, even though it's been going fairly well for Boomers and Zoomers. I say that in reference to the next 5-10 minutes on down the road when their team fight really starts to come online on those 2-3-item spikes. Whereas right now, SPW still has plenty of pressure. They're going to continue to try to look for this, actually. Maybe with the Call of Forge God. Going to try to open up the Drake, was going to open down very quickly with the Cassiopeia. Drake stacking once again to the side of Boomers and Zoomer.
And after winning that fight, I thought they were just going to go down, clear out the vision around the Drake, and set up whether a counterplay coming from the red side coming down, or just take the Drake in general.
Yeah, and they use the Call of Forge God. They're able to make some space, and with Cassiopeia there, burns down the Drake pretty darn quickly. Yeah, still about a 3K gold lead. for Boomers and Zoomers at the 18, or for, sorry, SanaPekora at the 18-minute point. Boomers, Zoomers pressing down in this mid lane. Graves gonna try to clear out a lot of these minions that are stacked up. Overall, not too much else happened. Bit of a ARAM here out of the side of Boomers.
Yeah, we have
Definitely
one up
send,
top.
I think, Cross into the bot lane now that his TP's back up and start farming out those waves again, but we don't want to deal with it. Dave's got blocking forward here. Grabs 3 in the ultimate, and he might be getting poked out as well. Get my super still alive, and it's a shutdown on a Dragonback. The engage fails. The next rocket not doing too much. Bush passing forward, trying to get excited. Grabs 1 kill, looking for 2. The rocket connect, and it's a triple in the mid lane for Blish. Looking for a 4th as Orn was walking down. He wants no part of that one.
Well played by Bush to be able to pick up all those kills off of that. The excitement from the Jinx being able to keep up with the movement speed.
Yeah,
A lot of gold from him.
Again, I think a little bit of, I mean, it's a very, very well played engage off Danny's God. Yeah, he falls down, but he makes enough time and space for the rest of the team to come in to continue the fight. Now, Tiggs looking for possibly a counter pick here. Really, he and Bush both can be knocked up by that. Not too much else to come out of it. And now about a 4K gold lead, so you're still at that kind of tipping point here. This is when you could start getting accelerated. You have, well, for SPW, a lot of your gold onto Blish, who is your late game carry threat. That's who you want to have this gold on, who you want to push yourself into that mid-late game transition to really be able to start taking over fights. Because Elise and Graves are going to start falling off here. They aren't super far ahead. They don't have a ton of gold on them. Darius is very strong at the moment as well. He'll be around for quite a while with the CS lead he's accrued in top lane, but is still certainly in Boomer's hands. I think they're overstepping a little bit, not necessarily respecting the engage potential of Danny as God. And they play, I think, a little bit safer, a little bit more knowingly of what Rel can do in these fights. Should be looking very good, as that's pretty much been the only way that SPW has been kicking off a lot of these engagements, is with the Rel going headfirst into the enemy team. Now instead we're going to look to fight over some river green. So you have Dragon here up in 145 on the timer. Still quite a bit of energy off it. There's actually a reset coming from SPW. And Baron is on the map. So you have all this stuff. 11 style, where are we looking here for the side of SPW? They're starting to get on the outscaled side of things. Where's the next necessarily look for them? What's the next play looking like instead of trying to continue to get this gold lead moving and kind of secure themselves an advantage once we get in the team fight stage?
I'd say you got to start cleaning the vision around Baron. That's a #1 thing I would do, which is what Rel's doing right now. So if you can keep that pretty much cleared and make them, the red side, come and face check you, you know, you've got a really good potential to win a team fight. You know, maybe get a pick off of somebody who's, you know, walking in, trying to clear vision, the Nautilus, and then not only after that pick, you can go right for Baron.
Yeah, what they do here is Watanabe and Catalyst starting this one up.
Yeah, Cassiopeia has to teleport in.
Yeah, they're going to try to fight this. They do not want a 22-minute Baron. Get accelerated. This pick comes onto Watanabe, immediately flash away the teleport, only finding the Rel, who's able to kite away. Great cast from the Rel, but back in the team, that might not be just what SPW is looking for. Stuck up through onto Dragonback. Paralyzed Gaze doesn't find anybody, but the damage is already done as Billy D chunked down very low. Nautilus looking for the Dreadline, cannot find it, and it is 2 quick kills off the Baron pick for the side of Boomers, and that's going to enable them to run right back down toward this Dragon, continue to stack the soul. I think a little bit of a disjointed fight there for SPW. They had Darius and Rel very much advanced, very much up towards that Baron pit, where the rest of the team's still kind of stuck in that choke point out around the entrance towards the Baron.
Pretty unlucky position. Now they're forced into a situation where they're going to be stuck at soul point.
Nip Dragon gonna go most assuredly down here to Boomers and Zoomer. Now, pretty much bringing the gold back to around 2,000, so no real advantage to take. Looking for does trade Flash. So definitely a good trade there by the Ornn. Jinx Flash much more valuable in fights than the Ornn Flash.
Toting up the Baron.
Yeah, back on the Baron, they snip out the reset off of Boomers and Zoomers, who do not have vision on the take. They're suspecting him heading that way. As my Soup finds the Control Ward. It's already down to 3K though. He's gonna have to go in and contest at some point. Flash over the wall from the Rel, trying to keep it in place, but it's short by Catalyst. Fight breaking out again as now the Strug is down as well. Excited is Jinx and the Darius with the dunk, a double kill over the side of Blitz. Jinx caught up as well by the Rel. And that is a disaster for Boomers. They almost had the steal, overcommit towards the Baron pit. Flashing from cross, very overzealous, and that's more than likely the mid inhibitor. I don't think they can look for the end push just yet, but certainly mid lane inhibitor at least here. And they're gonna continue on. They have the excitement on Jinx, so they can burst on the Executor pretty quickly. Dragon back up in 4, cross up in 1. Means that's more than likely going to the end of the push. The Predator coming out of Get My Soup. He might still be looking for the pick. My client freezes. There we go.
Not a terrible idea getting the hit. I don't know about shoving to the Nexus towers since they were coming up, but you know, hopefully they can put pressure elsewhere on the map and start choking the red side out.
Yeah, when Diggs cancels, Watanabe's back. The Darius is caught out behind enemy lines. Get My Soup finds the E over the wall. Darius trying to grab away to the blast cone, but kill donated very nicely over the Dragon back. A little bit of an oversteer there by the Darius in the top side jungle. And note on to the items. Forge Fire Cape completed for Tiggs. So Ornn every level now giving somebody another 1,000 gold worth of items, another 1,000 gold worth of stats. Looking for that either Cassiopeia, Leandri's Anguish, or the Dustblade on the side of Dragonback. Still though, 5K gold lead again for SanaPekora. Still looking very good after the Baron botch. Recurred managed to snip out resets, loses Dragon, gets on Soul Point, yeah, but it's not the end of the world for them, able to convert that into inhibitor. Just kind of continuing to farm up. Again, no real objective stick on the map. Lots of vision control around the Dragon Pit for the side of Boomers and Zoomers, so that's what they're going to look to exploit in the next fight. And one thing we're kind of seeing here as this continues is who's ever initiating the fights in these engagements seems to be the one who has the advantage. And Get My Soup looking to initiate in the bot lane is Billy D. Try to dash away, has the Gale Force, has the ulti, has the E. Get My Soup runs out of Predator buff, has to back away, but a lot of cooldowns burn. Most of them will be up. Pretty much all, actually all of them will be up by the Dragon Spawn. Something too superfluous blown there by Billy D that he can't recover from is Watanabe. In the Miasma going to buy some space across. The Tribeca forward grabs 2 with the E. The stun comes on across, and now the carry is gone. Rocket's trying to kite away. The Death Rocket finds him. Ornn also on the backside here. Ezreal trying to do as much poke as he can, but again, SanaPekora finding the pick on the overextension from Boomers. Dragonback trying to do some damage where he can get it. 3 strong here, so great front to back from Boomers. Everyone's still going to be up for Dragon Spawn, but more gold going in the pockets of SanaPekora. You're at 49,000 gold. Round to 6, a little bit more, 6K, almost 7,000 gold lead now. And a lot of this on the Jinx, no less, so a lot of this gold on the Jinx, on the Darius, and the Elise especially, 2,000 almost to the advantage in the jungle for Catalyst. So everyone you really want to have gold on, SanaPekora has their gold already in. Meanwhile, look at the other side, Get My Soup feels pretty bad. Cross could be feeling better. The Orange certainly not in a carry position at just Thornmail, but Draxthar Shadow Carver now persistent. Big engage from Danny has got 4 people on the OC. Tig's the last one remaining from the slaughter, and he goes down as well. Double kill for the Jinx, and it is the initiation from the support. Once again, we've seen it time and time and time again. Danny is God, showing up for the game win engage. And that will be both the Nexus turrets. There won't be another chance here for Boomers and Zoomers. They had been given enough already. And now it's going to be Red and Nexus falling down to SanaPekora as they continue their dominance at now 8-1.
Insane. Well played.
7-1, sorry. 7-1. They're not 8-1 yet. Next game. Or 6. They're 6-1 now. I can't do math. I apologize. Nope, that's the wrong button. There we go. All right, I am very dark. There we go.
Man, unlucky. Just when things were looking good for the red team.
Yep. Very well played by SPW. They had the harder comp to execute. Certainly a challenge for them in terms of the champions, the method of execution, all that taking quite a bit of skill to execute on. They had to get leads early. They had to continue to build up advantages, and they had a lot of oopsies. It's not like it was the cleanest game ever. You had the thrown around Baron that led to the Dragon being picked up. You had a lot of awkward early game scenarios in terms of top lane with some botched dives. It wasn't the cleanest game ever. Wasn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but in the end, there ended up the team who comes on top. Blish and Danny is God. You honor that bot lane, I think, 10 times out of 10 for what they managed to pull off that game. They managed to counteract all the dives that came their way. They managed to continue to be incredibly impactful in fights. Rel possibly just 1v9 won you the game with some of these engages. Very good showing from the SanaPekora bot lane. Not to say in any means that it was Boomers and Zoomers who hard ran it or anything like that. As still able to find picks where they could. They found advantages early where they really shouldn't have been. They got early dragons as well. It's just a few bad fights taken, a few bad decisions, checking into where there's no vision that really caused them to have some trouble in the mid to late game.
Quite unfortunate when times were swinging over one side's team and just to lose it like that.
Yeah. Again, well played by SanaPekora, well played by Boomers and Zoomers. You gave it a heck of a shot, just a few coin flips short of the win. But we're going to take a minute break here on cast, get some stuff set up with graphics, and we'll be right back with Game 2 of SanaPekoraWatanabe versus Boomers and a Zoomer in just a minute. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting here. We're going to get back in for Game 2 of SanaPekoraWatanabe versus Boomers and Zoomers. If you're just joining us here for Game 2. Game 1 going to the side of SanaPekora, running a bit of an unorthodox draft, but able to pull it off in the end. Boomers and Zoomers still going to be looking here for the win, though, in Game 2 as they have swapped over to the blue side. We'll be waiting for a draft here in just a second. Let me get some music cued. But, yeah, pretty much good games played. Fairly solid from both teams, in fact. So, definitely what you want to be seeing in the upper echelon of PSU LCS, one might say, as we are into draft, sir.
Can I get an invite?
Oh, are you not? All right. I'll send you the spec link here in a minute, but for those of you on stream, English. Skarner banned away by SanaPekoraWatanabe, Heckram, and Arel put on the bench by Boomers and Zoomers for the time being. And I will get you that spectate link in a minute. Alright, it's in Caster's chat for spectate, so put it in there. There you go.
Thank you.
Yep, and I'll send you the invite to game as well once we get out of this. Alright. So, Zillion also going to be put away here for SanaPekora. Again, bit of an interesting one, more of a pocket ban. And one more ban here for SanaPekoraWatanabe. Possibly looking at... I'm trying to think of another very strong champion. Morgana's a bit of a troll ban for this early in the draft, but sure, why not? And Thresh immediately picked up by Boomers and Zoomers. Gonna keep that out of Day God's hands.
Well, good choice banning out the Rel, considering how well the bot lane played.
Yep, immediately the pick is actually going to be Blitzcrank into the Thresh. As well as, again, the Jinx for SanaPekora. Blitz, of course, looking extraordinary on the champ last game. With that, looking here, possibly an ABC locked in for Boomers and a Zoomer. Corki would be an interesting pick this early. Varus did get buffed this patch. So not necessarily the weakest champion here. Might be seeing a lethality Varus, in fact, with the new scalings on his W. And it will be Varus locked away. Now, Boomers and Zoomers can go multiple different ways here. If they want to try to blind the top lane, maybe secure Tiggs, that Ornn pick again, could go that here. Or they can go with something more like the jungle pick, which is still up and available. Try to keep that pull from being pinched. And that would be the Olaf for Catalyst, if this is in fact locked in. Very comfortable champ. Not, I think, the best pick here in 11.4, but certainly still serviceable. Now SanaPekora probably looking to round off theirs with a jungle pick up here. Instead, going to lock away the Darius before that gets banned out in Phase 2. Once again, going to the top side of the map onto Yo Watanabe. So pulls are going to be pitched here. Top lane pool for Boomers and Zoomers is more than likely going to get cut pretty tight. I mean, mid lane they can do the same thing, so... Definitely going to take away some matchups here. Malzahar put to rest. Not going to let the R buttons be pressed this game. No QSS taxes will be paid with Skarner and him not seeing the light of day. And now Boomers possibly looking to grab themselves some of those more meta junglers here. Could be seeing an Udyr ban by blue side now that the Olaf is locked in. Again, not sure if SanaPekora really wants to play that. Or that's not Catalyst, right? Boomers and Zoomers picked up Olaf, so that's not going to Catalyst, my mistake. They misspoke on my end. That is for getting my soup.
Udyr jungle so would be a pretty good pick.
Udyr jungle will be a very good pick for SanaPekora. It was good to Uda Olaf on last patch, still insanely good on this patch with his hard farming capabilities. Doesn't really suffer that much from the jungle nerfs, or jungle changes, not really nerfs, as he can go more low econ. Instead, they might take away the Elise to prevent that double AD top mid. Of course, Lilia is still available, so you could see a Moon Staff coming out here from SanaPekora if this Elise is taken off the table. This is so far pretty standard for the most part. Nothing too crazy like the Graves from last game just yet.
I see a lot of potential to hit some hooks while enemies are rooted down in the bot side.
I would like to see the Udyr here. Realistically, I think that's the best pick in this situation. A movement isn't bad. Has a lot of engage potential. Can definitely get onto the backline. Nidalee, I'm not as big of a fan of, but it still works here. You have that AP jungle option now. You can go for an AD mid laner for last pick. It's totally open. Now Boomer's gonna have to try to grab a counter pick top lane here, and then the blind in mid. Could once again go for something like the Ornn for Tiggs. Cross though, looking back on the Cassiopeia, thought it worked out fairly well last game. We'll pick it up again as not necessarily as short of a range of a comp. Nidalee with the spears can certainly grab some long-range artillery-style damage. And it will be a Shen instead this time.
Not a bad pick for the top laner.
One last pick here for SanaPekora, looking for their mid lane counter pick. Artillery Mage is actually pretty good into Cassiopeia, so you Vel'Koz and Xerath on the table could go with one of those. I'm expecting an AD pick here, as the Nidalee is in the jungle, and Yone will be the lock-in, a little bit of C9 perks action for Billy D.
Quite an interesting team fight they're going to be having.
Yeah, again, going back for the AD mid lane on for SanaPekora. Definitely something they've seemed to like to pull out this series. Nope. And now, again, we have some a little bit, much more standard than last game in terms of the drafts. I think both these teams kind of pulling together the adaptations they need. Boomer and Zoomer have the Thresh Ferris combo in bot lane, so a lot of safety there with the Lantern. You have a Shen as well who can come make cross-map plays and give a lot more effectiveness in these early skirmishes that SanaPekora certainly like to pick and try to make happen. And SanaPekora this time going with a more standard composition. Much easier to play than their last composition, so long as your individual... This doesn't really rely on everyone you're comp playing absolutely perfectly. And getting a ton of early leads. You don't necessarily need early leads with the composition. Yone certainly can be played very cleanly in team fights with the ulti as a mass AoE knockup. Plenty of engage now potential for SanaPekora. You have a Blitz Hook to be able to pick off something like the Cassiopeia, like the Varus out from their team and burst them down before they can really do anything in these fights. And then you also can follow that up with a Yone ulti. You can poke out with Nidalee and Jinx. You have Darius as well for source of engage once he gets Stride Breaker. A lot more options for SanaPekora in Game 2. And if I have to look at both the comps, I actually really like SanaPekora's. They have solid, I think mid lane is going to be a pretty big struggle for them in the laning phase because Yone's not really going to have much access to Cassiopeia utilizing the Miasma early on. But has a lot of potential in the early to mid stage of the game to really get stuff going top lane with the Nidalee as well. I'm liking their chances so far. I think they put together a much better team than last time around. What I'm looking for is a better level of execution. As last game it was more of a toss-up of who throws first.
I'm really interested on who's invading who with these hook champions as supports.
Yeah, definitely. That is very true. I'm assuming it's going to be the team with Blitzcrank on it, who's going to be going up first, if I had to take a guess. That's normally how that one works out.
I just hope no one misses a Q. That will be awkward.
interestingly enough, is if you as Blitzcrank have vision on Thresh, you can kind of cancel his hook animation because he has to do the windup on the death sentence. Whereas Rocket Grab, and this is the same with Dredgeline actually, is just an instant cast. It doesn't really have that much of an animation. So you can pick off Thresh when he tries to stand still and go for hooks.
Man, I'll tell you what, if this Thresh loses, I'm going to be disappointed. As a Thresh main myself, if he's not flash flaying people, I'm going to be sad.
Well, we'll have to see here what Aversive Bias can pull out here. Had an okay game on the Nautilus, certainly not his best, but we'll try it again here on a bit of a less full committal pick. And both these teams, again, fairly solid composition. Both looking, I think, more for a team fight style. You don't really have a lot of split push. You have some split push threat on Boomers and a Zoomer with the Shen available. I'm assuming Cross is taking TP on the Cassiopeia again, so you have some side lane pressure that you can levy and go with like a 1-3-1 style. If Boomers and Zoomers can get some early leads and be able to actually threaten those outside lanes. But with a Darius on the other team and Yone, especially once you get later on the Yone side of things, very hard to contest inside lanes. So probably just going to be looking for the same thing we saw last game, which is these two teams. They're going to farm it up to 20 minutes in the lanes, have a bunch of random fights and skirmishes, and then A-ram it until someone throws an objective. That's more than likely what we're going to see.
That sounds exactly like League of Legends outside of pro play.
And again, the hope is always that these teams show that they have a bunch of macro and mechanical skills to be able to make good map plays and be aware of their enemy's strengths and weaknesses. We saw some of that being neglected by Boomers and Zoomers last game, not respecting Danny is God's ability to get onto their team with the Rel. But all in all, still fairly cleanly played. There's the one Baron throw as well. You can look at it SPW where they kind of just like giga grief. But it's really hard to put, just from looking at these two compositions at face value, who has the great advantage. I think Glitch Danny is God still the primary source of pressure from game one. Going to be looking very good in game two on a very similar bot lane dynamic. Actually, with even more pick potential this time on a Dragon Bag, given the ability of the Rocket Grab. So, post-draft, I'd have to give it to SPW this game. I think their composition is really solid. I think it has a lot of tools to work with. Knowing the players, very confident in their skills on their champions. All of them very good on those. Boomers and Zoomers, also solid comp. I just think that SPW have a better chance at being able to pull ahead early, snowball, and then still pick potential later on, even if they get behind to play through. I think if Boomers and Zoomers get behind on Get My Soup on Dragonback, it's going to be a little bit hard to work themselves back in.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Blish did really well as the Jinx last game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if we'll be seeing any more Wild Turtle flashes into something like a Cassiopeia Paris Thresh combo, but we'll have to see how confident Blish is feeling after a very convincing game one. Now, about 45 seconds here on spectator delay before we really get into game. And I don't know, in terms of stuff that can happen here, so far from what we've seen in all of PSU LCS, through the first Super Week, through what we're seeing in Week 2 here, is one of the things that sets teams apart is the ability to be coordinated in your map network. SanaPekoraWatanabe is one of the only teams in the league who will actively pursue stuff like the 3-4-man dives early on and be able to rotate correctly, not losing too terribly much on the rotations either. So they find good timings for multiple members at once and then are able to make it happen. It is impressive, to say the least, that this team can do that this early on in the season. And it's something that I want to continue to see more teams do and continue to see them do, as last game we saw a little bit of a deviation from that as the game continued to progress. And now looking at the rune choices, nothing too surprising. Kind of surprising on the Conqueror on ability. Thought Fleet Footwork might have been a little bit more viable into the Cassiopeia, but nonetheless, we're loaded on into game here as soon as my Boots up. We are back for game 2 here. Boomers and Zoomers looking to make it even 1-1 after a disappointing, I think, end to their first game by their standards. This directed camera is big broken. There we go.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
And
Here
again,
we go.
5-man.
Charge.
Yep,
Right.
this is the Blitzcrank charge, baby. Here it comes.
30 seconds.
Who will see who? That's very crucial in this.
Yep, 5 strong both ways. Oh, I'm not gonna see it. Oh, they've gotten in.
Uh-oh.
Someone spotted somebody. I think someone might have saw someone coming back out of the bush. Yeah, they see him on that ward there in Pixel.
Unlucky.
Oh, jeez. I've had 2 games now where it's like 2 5-men just like stacking up against each other, and neither of them
Minions
go
have
for anything. There
spawned.
wasn't even a rocket grab thrown or nothing. It's just kind of just watching each other from across the way.
I know definitely down silver, I would have just went for it either way. If you hit the Q, you hit the Q, someone dies, you know?
Very all-in mentality with that. Once again, both junglers starting on the bottom side of the map. Going to be pathing towards that top side crab. Some early plays. Maybe look to Catalyst again. Let's try some early shenanigans top lane against Shen. Try to get Watanabe ahead on this Darius pick once again. We'll have to see what he decides to do. Does smite move up, which is a bit interesting, but he's going to be a little bit behind Olaf in the clear thereof.
Darius putting on the early pressure as he should level 1.
Yep, 5 stacks. Tiggs is not very happy on the Shen. Really needs that Spirit Refuge to be able to test a lot of them. Oh my! Hooks!
Good hook. I would definitely wouldn't have went in right away with the Q follow. A flash flay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, clean.
Jinx
blood.
does pick up the first blood.
Arrow.
Oh, flash with the Q
Oh,
misses.
that's-
Unlucky.
Yeah, that's a disaster now. Not only do you lose first blood, your support falls down, you burn both summoners on Varus for no
And
trade kill on the Jinx. Ay.
Flashes.
It was a fantastic hook. Average Bias managed to weave it around a minion. He grabs the Jinx, and then it's a little bit of an overcommit. They hit level 2 first. It's one of those like real awkward situations, and then he's not able to get out before the damage comes through.
Definitely unfortunate. Look, oh, what a
Land.
hook. Alright.
Very
Not too
well
bad.
done.
Literally wrapping around over to the Olaf.
Yep, trying to look for him here as he goes for drop. Oh, well done. Good ward by getting my suit.
Definitely be a free scuttle topside.
Yep, free Scuttle Crab for nearly topside. Hoping to see Get My Suit just run bot lane. Yep, pings onto the bot side. Scuttle has the bot proud to do it. So, hopefully can grab that one and cross. Also going to TP mid lane to ensure that both lanes have prior on the bot side to contest this Scuttle Crab. I like this play from Boomers and Zoomers. Cassiopeia takes the recall, grabs a tier, and immediately starts running back to help his jungler. Calzo has a level, and he's looking for it.
Literally lands a kill. And they're just going to concede the scuttle.
And that is a bit unfortunate. I back at a dragon back there, had to go for a recall, had not yet gone back. Is really rough. They don't have the extra member. They know they're outnumbered. They then have to back off. And really interesting buy from here as well. Not only does he have the Doran Blade, he also picks up Call Tier, which might be one of the greediest recalls I've seen from an ADC. Not picking up one item that's going to delay your item spike, but 2 is quite a statement to be made on how confident he is on this pick. Damn God, though, maybe look at Olaf.
Oh, what a hook. Setup. Good play, but unfortunate that the Olaf did end up dying.
Yep, another great hook. Had the rotation over there. I'm not sure if he had Vigilant. They kind of found him, I guess, but had the Nidalee as well. Good kill onto Catalyst. Going to continue to accelerate the Nidalee ahead of Olaf.
think Danny's
Could
got
be
was
a-
looking
this could be an easy first dragon here if Catalyst wants to take it. He's got lane pile in 2 lanes. Could definitely go down and start this one up, knowing Olaf has to be going topside. He's playing Krugs already. And well played by SanaPekora in this early game. Once again, up 1,000 gold about. They're going to grab the first Drake this time around. Looking, besides some of the weird bot lane 2v2 stuff, very clean so far.
Yeah, very clean. Close game too. Both sides are doing pretty well.
Red team has slain the dragon.
Then just suffering the top lane, continue to get pushed in with lead stack and such.
So Olaf coming in. Good taunt. Hit the Q slow.
6.
Ooh.
Oh no, the
Oh.
flash as well.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, he was looking for that. Watanabe looking for that 5th stack onto Shin to grab the ultimate. Just 6-6 on the Darius. Can't find it. Hit my soup again. Another kill going on to him finally. That's a good play top lane. Try to continue to stay in the game. Is woefully behind though. Quite a few camps down. Now finally eating up and kills makes it a little bit better, but nothing too insane. His bot lane on the play.
Good hook by the Blitzcrank. Oh, a good hook by that Thresh. But he will end up going down. Flish with the speed. Dragon back trying to
Very
put down.
excited. Oh!
What a trade.
Yep, does give Flish a flash as well. So a lot of really feels bad flashes already. We're only 6 minutes in the game. A lot of feels bad flashes. Just not able to really get out of harm's way necessarily. Good side
Olaf
step.
coming in on the Blitzcrank for mana.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Oh
Good
no.
knockout.
If he has hook here, this could be dangerous for Olaf,
I doubt he had the mana.
but yeah.
Unfortunate too. That would have been well played if he could.
He
If
gets
he had
out,
the mana.
is all good. Terry is also able to grab a lot of top side pressure here. Gonna grab a plate as well. Of course, yeah, of course, still staying united to get to play, so nothing too super crazy lost in terms of map pressure from the side of Boomers and Zoomer. But fairly even. Still about 1,000 gold lead over to SanaPekoraWatanabe. Bot lane, an absolute fiesta. But otherwise, map feeling very standard. Yone actually keeping up in CS as well with Cross here on the Cassiopeia. Not really having any early pressure in the lane matchup. Give me very good sign for SanaPekora as Yone pretty much is allowed to free scale, and this champion on 2, on 3 items is one of the hardest scaling champions that you can find in League of Legends in Season 11, so it's not like he's getting any easier to kill as time progresses.
Good idea roaming as Blitzcrank trying to pick off the Cassiopeia.
Yep. Good look.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Yeah, very well done miasma by Cross there to keep the Blitz poking his head where it don't belong. And with the top side pretty much counter jungled entirely by Catalyst, including Blue Buff. Not much here for getting much to take. Does have his Gromp but respawned up there to snag is looking possibly on a roam bot lane here by Yone.
Blitz misses a hook, but hopefully Billy D can land the ult.
Stay united.
Ooh, double ult. Nice. Oh. Billy D still attacking. Alright, Shin coming in with the flash on up to the Jinx. Good play. Oh, another hook. Good hook on Thresh. Thresh will land the hook on the Nidalee. And I think both teams are just going to back out now with low health bars on the ADC and Thresh.
Yeah, Blitz just not able to grab the kill there onto Average Bias or Dragon back. The Super Mega Death Rocket actually blocked by Tiggs. Means there's not much the ADC can do after a series of very good hooks of Average Bias to keep their team in the fight. The collapse by Shen, of course, essential for the play, as no teleport available on Yo Watanabe. So the 4v4 ends up going in the favor of Boomers and Zoomers thanks to the global.
Quite nice being able to have your top laner come down, give you a free shield.
Yeah, that helps a lot with the Yone ulti hitting Dragon back pretty square in the chest. So certainly liking that extra few hundred HP to play with, as he limped out with sub 100. And now, second dragon spawning here in about 20 seconds. Going to likely be the focus for SanaPekoraWatanabe. They know the Stand United isn't available for Tiggs. So he's going to be stuck top lane. They might even have a pick here on versus Bias.
They're hooked, and the Thresh is dead.
Yeah, that's kind of a double face check, because Blitzcrank didn't necessarily see the Thresh either. Just one had more team than the other, and that's the end of the story.
Unlucky being the support and having to go to the dark areas to put wards down.
Ooh, well done on the trade by Tiggs there. And yeah, second Drake gonna go down here for the side of SanaPekora. Gets my dude looking for it, but doesn't really have too much to do here. Shadow's actually very low.
The Q.
Yeah, not too much else to problem that, but good to see SanaPekora still stacking Drake, still know that, hey, we get Soul, that is our win condition for all this game. We do a ton of damage to the team, every single person but Blitzcrank going to be dropping from that pretty heavily. Is still a 2,000 gold lead for SanaPekora. Farming up very well in the mid lane, especially in top lane and the jungle, some serious leads beginning to accrue.
Young roaming down.
Yeah, they might look for another 4-man play in the bot side here.
Maybe the pick onto the Casio as she goes down to follow. Good hook by the Thresh onto the Jinx.
Really good ult by Dragon back there as well to keep Jane's gone past the minions.
Uh-oh. Billy D caught. Ooh. Good use from the Q to get away from that. The flash coming out from Glitch.
And good to get out of there. Billy D almost caught out with the E in the middle of the enemy team, but managed to get away there after expending the ultimate to try to get a pick on cross. And no one dies for that. Just a lot of buttons being pressed. So, all over the place. Fighting bot lane. Not gonna amount to much.
No mana really hurts on bot side not being able to follow.
Top side of the map, there is still kind of continue to shove and wave against Jen, continue to put pressure on the top side of the map. Gonna allow Catalyst to get in here and see if he can go for some counter jungling, but get my suit in the area. A few hits on that blue buff, but again, spotted out. No one really wants to contest right here. Billy D gonna walk up anyway on the Yone. Now, just kind of another waiting game here. No one really wanting to take the Herald at this point in the game. Kind of not worth it if you can just continue to keep clearing. Here camped as these two more carry-oriented junglers. But still 4-man topside here for SanaPekora. Might just look to take it anyway. Rico coming in from cross as well means it could be a free objective if they want to count out. They can go for the contest on pull off.
Here we go. Oh. Alright, there's the top of Billy D. Billy D has to go back.
Oh, great
And
silence.
picking up double kill. It's huge.
Yeah, very nice picks there from SanaPekora, and that now will be assuredly the free Warp Tail to get a teleport basically for free, as well as 2 kills on the 4 side of that one. Now, Catalyst actually pretty huge on this middle. He's 3-0 and 1. After that double kill, gonna be feeling pretty good about that. Looking for the completion here of the Night Harvester and what I would assume would be a second item Void Staff. I think it's pretty good right now. Could also look for the Zhonya's. Still perfectly fine if he wants to go more on the defensive side of things.
What does Boomers and Zoomers have to do to get back into this? 4K gold down, mid tower missing. 2 Drakes down.
It's a lot of what they were doing last game. They have to look for some kind of... The team isn't necessarily the best at getting picks. They want to try to fight 5v5. I think playing around their bot lane right now is a very good option. The 30 CS up. Varus has a Manamune. He's working on his next item. Very delayed build with how he ended up buying his initial starters. But still feeling pretty good in the bot side of the map. So I think you give Dragon back a little more time. Maybe wait for until he gets his first mythic item completed. You have a really good chance here on the side of BSZ to still be able to fight some of these Drakes. The goal lead is pretty damning on the other side of things, but you have tools to still be able to fight. I think you can fight. You might give this next dragon. It's up in 30 seconds here. Wait a second, get the items on your AD carry, and then contest for soul. Would I think be the preferred route and safe route to play this game. But it doesn't look like anyone's trying to back off from this right now, so it might just be a contest anyway.
Flashes in, knocks up the ADC, pulls him. Oh, misses the hook. Clutch play. Oh, the taunt right onto the Darius. Darius has to flash away. Olaf uses the ult, go in, chasing down the Blish. The ult by Cassio picking off the Blish. Another flash out, and that will be Billy D coming in with the ult, diving in, has to do a go back. Doesn't want to fight in 1v5. I don't know if he's that strong yet.
Nope, only has the one item, so he will back away. And there's the fight we were talking about. They try to initiate onto the bot lane of Boomers and Zoomers. They have everyone in the area. Shen comes in with the Stand United, and they're able to make the counter play. That's going to net them a dragon. This is pretty huge. Boomers and Zoomers are going to buy themselves at least 5 more minutes here as a soul denied at the 22-minute marker for SanaPekoraWatanabe, and they even get a turret in bot lane off the pushing wave, so very well done here by Boomers and Zoomers to continue to... That wasn't really them looking for something, but play well around the enemy aggression, as I would put it.
If you want to come back, plays like that will definitely help them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, not much up here for another... Still at 2:30 before Baron's up, and that's really the next major objective that's going to come up on the map. It's going to be a long time, I think, before either of these teams are really ready to try to do one of those. I mean, you look at how fast SPW's comp takes that extraordinarily quickly. With both Jinx and Yone.
Unfortunate Bliss missed. Yeah, Bliss just missed the Q onto the Olaf. They're going to pick him.
Yeah, they have Yone here. This is a dive.
Ooh, good hook. Ult used by both Blitz and the Olaf.
By himself. There's nowhere for him to go. Good fly.
Flashes. Tiggs goes down. Unlucky.
Really well done on juggling the aggro there too, as Daniel's John's still able to get out while he's alive. So very nicely done. More.
Cross just picked out by the ult.
Yep, and there is 200 years of balancing experience in 2021. Yone is a very cool champion once he gets one item.
Quite strong, especially in the right hands.
And ability certainly no stranger to the second of the Wynn brothers. Yeah, good play bot lane. They end up getting 3 kills out of it for nothing. Grab the turret, grab 2 turrets. They did make the kind of overstep, the misplay, even outplayed, you might have said, in the last team fight. But SanaPekoraWatanabe surely able to bounce back from that. They're not going to let it really get them in any bad state of mind. They understand there's no major objectives up, but they have the Riptail. They have a dive to set up bot lane if they want to. They take that opportunity. They ended up getting more kills and extend the gold lead once again to 5,000 gold. So, pretty 20 minutes, very substantial with how these teams are setting up to take this later portion of the game. To be feeling very good about themselves as they continue to look to build leads.
Well, one good thing about losing towers is that the other side's minions only get stronger and they'll push into you. So if you can sit back and farm up, it might help you out just to play it safe for a bit. Alright, here we go with the team fight coming in. Ooh, Thresh walks the wrong way. Alright, ultimate coming in from Olaf. Ooh, Blish is able to pick up a kill on the Thresh. Double kill for Blish. They're still chasing. Hopefully the Shen gets grabbed. Unfortunate. Oh, Darius misses the. Oh, will the bleed? Oh, the bleed does end up picking him up.
And this time it is SanaPekoraWatanabe, they find the engage this time. They find the fight they wanted. Boomers and Zoomers not really in a position with half their team kind of over that mid-top side wall in the brush, not really able to like coordinate correctly with their teammates, end up getting kind of picked off more or less. So, able to put that fight away, but still dragging back and cross are alive. Maybe not for long.
Oh, what a good pick by Billy D.
Oh, jeez, that shape is so disgusting, and Billy D is just as disgusting as teleport.
Oh, what a good hook, Comes in, plays, yep. Young's dead.
Yeah, well played there. Still an advantage, I think, over to SanaPekora. Yeah, they can start looking for the bear, but Cassiopeia also down, meaning they're not going to be able to take it that fast. Cassio will be up beforehand, but does not have to teleport. Good note. And now, this is a really interesting position, actually, for SanaPekora. Because normally in this position, what they would have liked to done is they wanted to get last strike, so that when this time period comes around, you're at that 22-minute marker, you can then look to force the Baron soul trade. Because you can give another dragon, grab that Baron, and then continue to push down if you're SanaPekora once you're at that soul point marker. Because the power of soul point, the real hard part about it, is the dragon stats themselves aren't actually that important. What's important is once you get that dragon soul, the enemy team knows that you have a definitive advantage for the rest of the game that is incredibly hard to come back from. What SanaPekora can do on soul point is they can bait the soul. If you're Boomers and Zoomers, you have to contest the soul, because you have to go dragon. You then trade for Baron as SanaPekora if you don't want the fight, and then you take it. But since they're not on soul point, and the dragon is delayed, they do not have that option to split up the enemy team or try to make a cross-map play to try to build a greater advantage by getting more and more structures. So they're going to have to go for the break in the fight instead.
Walking in, Thresh hooks the dragon. Both Thresh and Blitz misfused. And now the cross goes down. Ooh. Now blue side has to run away. Darius with the ult kills the Shen. Darius goes down. Q from the Nidalee and a hook from the Blitzcrank to seal dragon back.
Yep, and they don't really need to take the cross-map trade. They'll just take the fight and win it pretty handily, 4-for-1 in favor of SanaPekora. Yeah, they can go Baron. They have ADC, they have someone to tank, and they have the jungler still alive. Baron is certainly on the menu here for SanaPekora.
Almost a 10k gold lead.
Yeah, massive win there for SanaPekora. They were already ahead. That pretty much puts them in that unlosable range of game differences. Around 9k is the current gold deficit. Maybe 10k here once the Baron goes down. Really 10k here with the Baron. Yep, there's 10k to 11k almost picked.
I like the plays, looking in the scuttle to the pit to make sure you secure it.
Realistically, SanaPekora could just run it down mid here and try to look for a fight and just end it off that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, granted, Billy D, he almost has his ults up, and same thing with the Darius. Both ults are about to come up.
Yep. So this game pretty much in the bag. I think SanaPekora played it pretty well. Not too much, really, that Boomers and Zoomers can do at this juncture in the game. Their jungler feels pretty freaking useless at 1-5 on the Olaf. Shen still doesn't have a mythic in 23 minutes. Doing 93 CS. And Varus is the lethality build, so he's not really doing a ton of damage to some of these champions or champions that can heal back his burst, like Yone. It's very hard for the play. Cross also very behind in the Cassiopeia. Only has a mythic. Needless large. Still hasn't even completed the Archangels, sitting on that large rod in inventory. It's very hard here with the item difference to see any way that Boomers and Zoomers can find. It's gonna take a very, I mean, extremely well executed team fight or a very poor misplay from SanaPekora to even have a hope in this game of being able to pull this one off.
Not to be a downer, but there is a massive difference in levels between both the jungler level difference between Olaf and Nidalee. It's 3 whole levels. That's a lot of damage.
I mean, that's just consequence of the amount of counter jungling and kills that Catalyst has received.
Cassio almost going down to the rocks from the bush.
Yeah, this might be the death push here, as mid lane is picked by Billy D there. So, definitely going to lose.
Just waiting on minions.
They're losing at least probably 2 inhibs on this push, if not the next one.
The hook barely goes
Now
wide
this
on
might
the
be, if this push continues, this might be that last stand opportunity for BNZ. We don't like to see teams roll over and die. They're going to have to put up a fight at some point. The question is, do they try to put it up now off the pick?
Olaf popping in, you beat him.
Oh, they get the pick.
Big D. Good
is
shutdown for
huge.
Dragon Pack.
Yeah, that's the fight you take.
Unlucky. I think Billy D was trying to go in for the ult.
Yep, that is shut down gold over towards Boomers and Zoomers. Wait, now they buy themselves a few more minutes. They buy themselves a little bit more time. You still have that Infernal Soul up in a minute, so probably not that much time, but sometimes try to clear out some minions, regain control of your base, and because that inhibitor's lost on bot side as well, isn't that big of a deal when you're going for the dragon contest, because you don't have someone that's like splitting top lane in your base where you have to have a TP. You can put anyone down there, clear out the main, and just walk up when dragon spawns. You have options that you can use.
The gold lead's only growing. It's quite over 10,000 gold.
About 11k. Pretty solidly in the favor of SanaPekora at this point to go for that 7-1 record. And Boomers and Zoomers is probably the fight you have to go. Infernal Soul goes over at a 10k gold deficit. Your game is pretty much that's it, because you will die in the next they just walk into your base and kill you more than likely, especially in this scenario. So this contest most certainly going to have to be done.
Cassio just down, teleported down to the help out.
Yep.
Shin trying to look for a flank. Gets spotted out.
Yep.
Blue side starting with the Drake. Maybe you can drag it further down. Oh, hook on the tank. Good route. Good zone, yes. Shin teleporting in to help save Cassio. Nidalee picking up 2 kills. The jungler's gone. This is a free Drake.
Yeah, they managed to go around the
Jump
engage
to
of Darius.
cross goes down to Nidalee.
Yeah, Darius too taking to really pick off there. The miasma comes down, but too late with Billy D on the flank.
The
Yeah,
FF
that's
comes
GG.
out.
There's supers in the base. Yeah, that's the FF. They know what's up. GG, well played. SanaPekoraWatanabe take it 2-0 in their game of week 2.
Well played. Definitely a closing game. When ended pretty quickly after the lead started breaking out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close early game. There was still plenty of chances for Boomers and Zoomers to come back in. SanaPekoraWatanabe eventually find the picks. They eventually find the team fights that they need to pull out. And once they got around 5k and then the Baron play happens, that's pretty much where the game was over. 5k is still contestable by the side of Boomers and a Zoomer, but once the Baron goes down, once you get up to that like 8, 9, 10k gold market, especially at the end when we were looking at 14, that's about all she can write. So SanaPekoraWatanabe still looking incredibly dominant here in PSU LCS, able to take another 2-0 victory in week 2. And I mean, if anyone wants to interview, just hop into Discord and I can figure that out here in a minute. But
What a game to watch.
yeah, very well played by, overall, I'd say well played by SanaPekora. Still not infallible, don't get me wrong. There were some pretty int plays in game 1. There were some pretty int plays.
Then you
However,
gotta start looking for all-ins, maybe clean the team up, luckily, and in some sloppy team fight, maybe flip the game. But, you know, if you're that far behind, you've got to try something.
yeah, absolutely. And that's not something we're going to blame Boomers for. When you're down 10, I have a little bit even more trouble with some of the fights I took at the end of the last game, where they ended up losing off of those. Because this game, that Dragon Test, you're not going to flame anyone from inting there. They're 10k down. They're fighting into a team that has completely outscaled them. There's not much they can really do. So, realistically speaking, it's not the end of the world that they get wiped there. The game could have been over anyway, and especially if they gave it.
At least they tried.
Exactly. All right, and we are getting the sub A Catalyst to interview here in just a second. Move him into our voice here. All right, hello, A Catalyst. Welcome to the Casters channel for a little post-game interview.
What's going on?
Not too much. How about yourself, sir? Playing very nice in your substitute game here onto SanaPekoraWatanabe.
Yeah, first game was a little troll, but you know, I think we kind of got it together for game 2. Built up that synergy that wasn't around since like 4 clashes ago.
It's the clash runback, huh? That's what our games were today.
Yeah, the clash.
I could see that in game
Norm,
1. Game 2
Flex.
looked a little bit better than Clash, but game 1 I could see.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
No, yeah. So subbing into the team, you're replacing needed to get better, i.e. Peter. Any type of difference in trouble with? It looked much cleaner in game 2, so I'm assuming there was some trouble with maybe the team dynamic filling in. I know one of Need to Get Better's biggest styles is going for like a lot of roam plays early on, doing a bunch of more team-focused champions in terms of getting advantages for the unit, not necessarily himself. How was that for you guys going into game 1 specifically? Because I think that's where we saw the most trouble.
Yeah, there was definitely a little like I don't know how to say. I guess like not complacency. That's not the word, but like I was just kind of trolling game 1, honestly. I mean, it's like I pathed like buff Gromp. I get just 3 buffed, and it was like, all right, I'm gonna kill mid or top, or I'm gonna invade the Olaf at buff. So you guys should push. And then we just ended up going top, and it was a really scuffed play because I didn't repel the
you also had the out after all of that, and you decided no.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? He flashed. I'm just gonna flash for first blood. And then I said #worth. But I mean, even if it really wasn't, I mean, we ended up, snowballing pretty well. Not really, but I mean, we still ended up winning the game. That's what I mean to say. So I mean, it worked out.
You did have a sizable gold lead, but with your composition, you probably needed a little bit more to really push yourself over to the edge.
Yeah.
So
the intent was to have originally the Graves pick was for me, but we're like, oh yeah, we have Billy, we can just flex at mid. So we ended up actually flexing at mid, and then just picked AP jungle at the end. So I don't know, maybe I was just ready to play Graves after watching some Canyon, and I just had to be put on the Elise.
Jeez.
So,
just
it happens, but
I guess if that's what you want to do, I mean,
it worked out.
Yeah. I mean, it looked good. The Nidalee looked clean game 2. There's not really too much to talk about here. Early game was fantastic. The dives were well coordinated. I'm sorry to say, although you're the one interviewing, I think MVP of the series is Danny is God once again. In my opinion, the Rel might have just solo won you game 1.
Yeah, they banned it in game 2, and I think he played really well on Rel, and then he did a serviceable job on Blitz game 2. Honestly, I think Danny just like he communicates really well, and that's like part of what makes like playing with him so easy, and like that's what helped us win, I think.
All right.
But yeah, definitely he had a player of the game performance game 1 for sure, and he played well game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. 11 Style, you have any questions?
I gotta say, how does it feel being so far ahead of the Olaf? Was it easy just to transition that lead to help carry the team?
So it really helps to have lanes that are pushing. Obviously, when you're playing Nidalee, I think when you pick Nidalee and draft, you need to draft around the Nidalee. You need to draft CC, and obviously, winning lanes helps a lot. Like early on, we did a lot of invading, and I wanted to make sure that Cass wasn't able to be handed blue buff, and that was kind of the goal, playing around topside early in the first like 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah, once a couple invades worked and Danny was able to roam from bot a little bit, I really started to snowball, and I just took like most of his jungle after that and gained like a 2 or 3 level lead. And I don't think there was much they could do to come back after that. So I mean, yeah, obviously it felt really good for me on Italy, and I think that's exactly the way that like you have to play when you have Italy in your composition.
Really well done.
Yeah, very well
Thank
done.
you.
I got one more, just a troll question here, but so now that you've played on SanaPekoraWatanabe, which game is objectively better, SanaPekoraWatanabe or Coach Gap?
I gonna be honest, it's close, but Coach Cap not even close.
And
No,
there we go.
honestly, both teams are good. Both teams are good, and I think that our game against SanaPekoraWatanabe Watanabe is gonna be really good, and I'm looking forward to it. So
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun playing with these guys today. So, and hopefully, maybe I'll be able to do it again. So
tell them to schedule more games during D1, I guess.
yeah.
Seems to be the way you get in. All right. Well, thank you, Mike, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Of course, no
Thank
stranger to
you.
the caster desk yourself. But
Good job, Mike.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
All right. See ya. Have a good one.
All right. You heard it here. Coach Gap greater than SanaPekoraWatanabe, a fact we will have to test in the coming weeks of the PSU LCS, as those teams still have yet to come to arms. And now I am going to do our little, of course, Streamly PSU LCS schedule update. So 21st. Okay, yes, it is tomorrow. So tomorrow, the 21st, so Sunday, we have one game at 6 p.m., which is 5-inch Girth Gods versus Gorilla Monkey, which should be a banger. We also have Team Miku versus Free Agent Federation at 4 p.m. that day. So both those games, I'm not sure if the first one will be streamed, but we're going to try to get the second game streamed if we can. So stick around for that. Captains, if you have not put on your games, because there's probably a handful of you later tonight or tomorrow who have games to play, put it on the caster sheet, please, so I can get some casters to come cast your games. If not me, somebody else. But we always love to try to get the casts going. It's fun for us. I'm sure it's fun for you guys to see and watch your fellow PSU players play, for lack of better words. But yeah, please do get on there, fill out the sheet. If anyone else, of course, is interested in casting, reach out to me. We still have plenty of season left to play. So that is all we have for today here for PSU LCS, at least as far as I'm aware. So once again, I'm Dom, joined here by 11th Style.
Yep, #1 Thresh at PSU.
And that will be it. We will see you guys next time back on the Rift. Peace.